Dungeon Antiqua 2 is a retro dungeon RPG that just released on January 7th and absolutely wears its Super Nintendo inspiration on its sleeve. The pixel art, the user interface, the pacing, it all feels like something a fan of Final Fantasy IV would love. From the turn-based combat all the way to the expressive soundtrack. Dungeon Antiqua 2 takes place hundreds of years after the original game, and it assumes that world already exists. That's why you're told in the opening, as you know, the archdemon has returned. And look, I've watched gameplay of the original, so I'm not lost here, and I do plan on going back and playing it, but Dungeon Antiqua 2 doesn't punish you for not having the entire lore memorized. That one sentence works on two levels. If you have played the first game, it hits like, oh yeah, this again. And if you didn't, it still tells you everything you need to know. Because every retro gamer can relate to that sentence and the needed journey you'll embark on in order to save the world. Plus, it lets your imagination run wild with how big and bad this archdemon is and how personal the stakes are going to be, which leads to a good amount of anticipation with how all this is going to unfold. And exploration is where the game really clicked for me. There's a visibility system that makes dungeon crawling feel like you're truly walking around a dungeon with a flashlight. So there's only a certain amount of area you can see ahead of you where it truly captures the feeling of a monster walking by your flashlight in a tunnel, and you have the decision to walk forward and take your chances, or bail and turn the other direction. That limited vision really adds tension without being cheap. Encounters are symbol-based, so you can run to them on your own time or dodge them. Or what I like about this game is you can sneak up on them and try to get behind them for a battle advantage. But that's also a two-way street. If you get caught sleeping and they sneak up on you, then you'll be the one surprised in battle. There is a stealth walk option that keeps your character facing forward to avoid being flanked, but you move slower while using it. Which makes sense, you know, stealth walk. I mean, I don't ever remember trying to sneak in the kitchen late at night for a snack and running full speed, so at least it's a logical trade-off there. But when it comes to games like this, I'm usually going 100% full speed all of the time because I'm impatient. And sometimes it worked out for me, and sometimes I paid for it. But I can live with the consequences of my actions. I enjoyed the dungeon layouts too. For somebody who's used to dungeons like Lagoon on Super Nintendo, where I'm just wandering around gray walls, wondering what next gray wall will eventually lead me to a door, DA2 had the nostalgic feel of those games, but without the wandering around. I don't think I remember being lost at all in this game, and that's saying a lot for somebody who's relatively new to DRPGs. And each dungeon has multiple paths to give you a little choice in the matter. Some are shortcuts packed with more enemies, others take longer but reward you with more treasure. And me being me, I try to backtrack and explore everything because I hate missing stuff. So there's not just that one door you're looking for on a map, there are multiple paths to get to where you need to go. But that's not always possible though. There are occasional one-way doors, which means your decisions really do matter. Combat sticks to a classic setup, baddies on the left, your party of 4 on the right, just like in the glory days of retro Final Fantasy, and it looks amazing. The enemy designs lean hard into that retro horror aesthetic, and I am absolutely vibing with it. And that goes for the normal enemies and bosses alike. Beautiful pixel art that feels appropriately unsettling. One thing I wanted to mention, DA2 does extremely well with its accessibility. This game is welcoming to anybody, even if you have never played a dungeon RPG before. The tutorial walks you through everything, and nearly every system has an auto option. Equipment character setup, even combat decisions. If you don't know what you're doing yet, you can just let the game show you while you learn. You can watch how turn order works, see what kinds of attacks make sense, slowly take control once it clicks, and when it does click, you start making your decisions and coming up with your own unique strategy. You're also gently guided by a small fairy companion that helps point you in the right direction without ever feeling intrusive. This game has strategy depth for the longtime players, but helps those new players along like Mystic Quest did back in the day. Your hub that you'll return to after missions is the edge of town. And this is where you can hit up the marketplace for weapons and armor, buy spellbooks for your mages and priests. There's a training center to swap party around and change member roles, and a church where you can revive fallen characters. This is also where progression ties directly into the world you're taking a break from. Like one part where the shopkeeper would like to give you iron weapons, but turns out the iron mines are infested with monsters. So of course, that's your problem now. Clear them out and unlock better gear. Simple, logical, and satisfying. There are 6 dungeons total, and none of them feel like filler. And character building gives you room to experiment without punishing you for trying things out. There are 10 jobs in total, 5 available at the start, with the rest unlocking as you progress. And because changing jobs doesn't reset your level, you're encouraged to mix and match skills and find something that actually feels like your party. I personally chose to play as a priest, because if you're walking through dark dungeons filled with evil creatures, who are you calling to help? Exactly, somebody good with the Lord. So I'll already be there, so no need to call. Leveling up increases your HP and MP, but most of your stat growth comes from your equipment. You'll buy upgrades in town and find blessings in dungeon chests, though not every chest is a good idea to open. Sometimes curiosity gets punished. All in all, you're looking about 10 to 12 hours for a first playthrough, so it's not as long as those RPGs it's calling back to, but the timing still feels just right for the story. If you love SNES-era RPGs, dungeon crawlers, or early Final Fantasy in particular, Dungeon Antiqua 2 is an easy recommendation to relive those times with a fresh new game. Now, watch some gameplay as I get ready to go buy the first game and catch up on some of the lore.